Why are you advocating? You are the major pusher, especially on the floor of the Senate. And you have argued with your colleagues the need for an Aniama state. And don't even begin the conversation around marginalization, because that's the first thing, because people will say, we have Southwest 6 states, South, 6 states, Northeast 6 states, North Central 6 states, Northwest 7 states, but Southeast 5 states. Is that part of the agenda to fix the Southeast that seems to be smaller in terms of the number of states, or what?
Well, almost just over a year ago, I had a meeting with the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, where I discussed about the problems of Southeast, the insecurity in Southeast. You know, what do we do to address it? And he knows the problems, and he also has an idea. The whole idea is that there should be some level of equity extended to the Igbos of Southeast by having an additional state. It wasn't going to be an easy task, you know, to create one, but it is doable. And I'm happy that we have come this far. The point is this: even at that time, it was understood that the problems of Southeast, the agitations of the youths of Southeast, the killings there, the referring to the ESN groups and ESN and IPOB and the rest of them. These are young people who have come up to say that they are fighting for freedom because they are marginalized. And one of the areas that they've all spoken about and against is the fact that they are the only zone. Southeast is the only zone in Nigeria that has 5 states. Why is that? Why was it done intentionally to undermine them? Of course, yes. And from engaging those youths, it became so obvious that if a step is taken in creating one state, just one state, to bring it apart with the 5 other zones, let's leave Northwest out of this now, at least bring it apart to the 4 other zones, then something would have been done for them. You know, yes, they are clamoring for different things, but I mean, not least, of course, the release of Nnamdi Kanu. They're asking for it. We know that that is something that has to be done. You know, you would just say,
Nnamdi Kanu to be
oh yes, yeah, of course.
Why do you think so?
Nnamdi Kanu has been in custody for some time now. I believe that he has been held unjustly. Many people feel that way.
As a lawyer, do you think so?
Oh yes, yes.
That the judicial process is unjust?
Yes, yeah, no, it has been. There's a lot of delays in prosecuting him and all that. If you want to get him tried and convicted, get on with it, you know. But this is a guy who has been held unjustly, as I said, you know, for so many months.
And the Buhari government started it.
I'm not talking about this government.
Trial. No, so the point I'm making now.
I'm talking about the previous government under Buhari.
When it's facing a judicial process right now.
Yes.
Saying it's unjust because the argument is that there should be a political solution, maybe a nullius prosecution. Prosecution should be established on that for the case to be withdrawn. But there are those who say, well, there are allegations and it's left for the law for him to have his day in court, which is in process.
But as you know, there have been some pronouncements by the Federal High Court, which has not been respected. You know, so his incarceration is the main reason for the crisis in Southeast.
But the crisis started before he was even arrested.
No.
The killings, the burning of police station, the killing of police officers and all whatnot.
Well, look, the problem in Southeast is very different from what is in the Northeast or Northwest and all those areas. You know, the problem in the Southeast has to do with the perceived injustice by governments, successive governments. So what needs to be done? And one of it's why I'm here today, talking about the creation of state to make up the number up to 5. And then you have the release of Nnamdi Kanu. By the time you do these two things, I am almost certain that peace will return to Southeast.
Let me ask you this question, Senator.
I have spoken to so many youths in from Southeast, and they have assured me that that they are prepared to be engaged by us, by the leadership. When this is done, they don't want to die. The youths don't want to die. They want to go back to schools. They want to go back to their jobs. All they want is some level of respect and acknowledgement by the nation, by the government of Nigeria.
I want to ask you, and this exists in almost every region of the country, where you have your brothers in different states and all whatnot. Are there Igbos outside of the 5 states of the Southeast in Nigeria today?
Well, I'm surprised you're asking.
No, because for the sake of our...
Yes, for the sake of your listeners.
Yeah.
Let me say this. When it was Western Nigeria, when we had Western Nigeria, I'm sure you've heard of some people being described as Western Igbos. Subsequently, when Midwest was created, by referendum, as you know, they were called Midwest Igbos. Then the name changed to Bendel. They were called Bendel Igbos. And of course, Delta came up with Edo State. And now they're called the Delta Igbos. And that is the Anyomas, the people, our people.
9 local governments
areas.
In that senatorial district.
And we are almost completely Igbos. Of course, there are arguments about some areas, some people have come from Igala or come from Benin. But the fact is that, according to Delta State gazetted laws, there are only 5 ethnic groups in Delta: the Yorubas, the Igbos, the Ejos, the Shekiris, and the Isokos. There's no mention of Benin. There's no mention of Yorubas or also within Delta North.
Apart from Delta North, there are those who say, and you might be touching the wrong nerve here. In River State, for example, there are Igbos there.
Oh, of course, yes.
The Ikweres.
Opobos.
Or the Opobos.
They're everywhere. Igbos are everywhere. Igbos actually.
So if you create, for example, are you hoping that they will join the Anoma State, or Anoma State is going to solely from your proposition and the literature that they have put forward, is going to be solely from the 9 local government areas of Delta North?
Look, initially, my bill was centered around the 9 local government areas of Delta North. And however, a lot has happened since then. But if you look at the explanatory note to my bill, it talks about the Anoma State to become the 6th state of the Southeast, the 37th state of the country.
Does the Southeast, so the 5 states in the Southeast see you as Igbos?
Of course, yes.
And I've heard, I don't speak much of Igbo, but I've heard
I can tell you, look,
the 45 Igbos of the Anomas.
No. Every language has dialects. Every language, even Yorubas, from Lagos to Oyo to...
Even the Enugu Igbo is different from the Abia Igbo, is different from the Onitsha Igbo.
Of course, yes. But we are all Igbos. Anyoma is historically an Igbo enclave. And there's no doubt about that. From our names to our language, to our culture, our tradition, our food, everything is Igbo. And we have always identified ourselves as Igbos. Of course, there were 2 reasons why, for so many, almost like centuries, we were kept at the back burner, kind of confined to Western Nigeria. And why most people some people from my area seem to have gotten to the point where they were not sure whether they were Igbos or not Igbos. But majority of us understand who we are and understand where we've come from. And let me just explain what I mean. There are, during the war, the Civil War, most people, we had the Asaba massacre. After the Asaba massacre and the rest of the killings within our area, we were told as kids that if you see Nigerian soldiers You must not admit that you are Igbo. You must tell them that you're from Benin or that you are Yoruba. These are kind of things that we had to do to survive the ethnic cleansing that happened at that time ago.
Well, economically speaking, Senator, how do we defend this? We're already complaining that we have to overbloated government.
We've gone beyond that. You know, Delta North is rich economically. We out of the 9 local government areas, 6 of those local government areas are oil and gas producing.
And Anyoma can feed itself.
Anyoma,
is that what you're
of course,
saying?
completely.
What are the potentials?
I've just told you. We have
apart from oil and gas.
We have huge deposits of oil and gas. That is a lot because we have the largest gas deposit in Africa. You should know that. In the coordination.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we have agricultural lands. We have Delta North is the home of Nollywood. I'm sure you know that. And we have most of the big businesses in Nigeria, the television houses or media are from, or banking sector are from Anyoma. I'm sure you know that. You know, so we are more than self-sufficient.
Are the Delta people happy with this plan?
But we've gone beyond this.
No,
now.
the reason is that
let me tell you, we've gone beyond this now because at the retreat 2 days ago in Lagos, the consensus between the House and the Senate committees on constitutional amendment is that there should be one state for Southeast
to make it
6.
So we have 37.
Yes, and then after that, then there will be one state per zone to make it 7-7 to bring it apart with Northwest.
Well, I'm not sure Nigerians are happy with more states. The ones that we have, at some point they were they couldn't feed themselves. They couldn't pay salaries. Now we're going to be creating. How do you convince the average Nigerian that creation of states is the way to go?
Are you aware that in Delta State, for example, that we have the largest allocation every month? Largest allocation for FAC. Are you aware of that? And this comes from oil and gas resources. Delta North has almost 40% of that allocation. And that 40% is more than what you have in maybe Ebonyi or in Enugu or in Zamfara. So we are much more ready than most current states. We have the resources. That's not the issue.
So as a lawyer, quickly, because we're due for another break, as a lawyer, if you look at the position of the Constitution in state creation, in delineation, boundary adjustment, and local government creation, it's very clear of how, the processes on how to create a state. Have you met that criteria as stipulated by the Constitution, where the Constitution stipulates that there will be a referendum in the areas, in all of the areas, where this state creation proposition is coming from? Have you been able to meet that?
Of course, yes. Referendum will come in the next few weeks, I'm sure, or months. Almost certainly before the end of the year. We've gotten the guidelines, and for this particular creation of an Anyoma state, the referendum will not be limited to just the 9 local government areas. It will extend to all the 5 southeastern states because we are trying to take the slot that belongs to southeastern states.
Why are you so passionate about this?
Because it's an agitation that's been 70-something years. But by our forefathers,
what if this fails, if it doesn't happen?
Well, it's life. You know, at least we would have tried our best. But who would have thought that we would have gotten to where we are now? Who would have thought so? So it's something that our forefathers fought for. They traveled and traversed across the country trying to, lobby, trying to, ask others to support them. But now we're doing it from within National Assembly through a bill, as I said, and there is really nothing that will stop it.
All right.